guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a huge book haul to share with you guys. I have about 20 books in total. Some of them are fantasy, some are romance, some are even non-fiction. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. We have a bunch of books to talk about today. So get comfy, get a blanket, get a drink, and yeah, let's just jump right into it. Okay, I'm gonna start with my book of the month books that I haven't talked about yet. The newest one I received is Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. This is described as a modern gothic fantasy, which is right up my alley. So this follows our main character, Opal, who is a high school dropout and working nonstop trying to save up to get her and her brother, Jasper, out of the small town in Kentucky that they live in. There is this infamous house in their town known as the Starling House where an author disappeared a century ago, and it's always kind of been this mystery to the town. Everyone in the town does their best to ignore the dark rumors that circle this house and the heir, Arthur, who still lives there. However, when Opal gets the opportunity to step inside the Starling House and make some money to fund her and her brother's escape, she cannot pass up the opportunity. This book is a very paranormal seeming kind of book. It's a dark gothic fantasy, so I feel like if you were someone who liked Belladonna, which I loved, you would like this a lot. The next one we have is Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. I'm obsessed with this cover. I think the yellow and the pink together are just really pretty. So this takes place in Aspen, Colorado in 1978. So the story follows Pamela, who is a sorority president, and she is the one who finds the aftermath of the serial killer's attack on her sisters. We also find out that 4 years earlier, a woman named Ruth mysteriously went missing, and her best friend and roommate has always kind of been trying to figure out what happened to her. And when she hears about this sorority attack, she teams up with Pamela, who is the sorority president, to kind of investigate what's going on and catch the killer. Ultimately, the story follows Ruth and Pamela trying to figure out what has happened, trying to catch the killer and make a solid case to connect the two different cases. If you are someone who's into true crime, I think this one would be really perfect for you. The next book we have is Evil Eye by E. Taff Rum, and at its core, this is a book about grief and how it always comes back to us even years later. It touches a lot on our childhoods and how grief and trauma that we experience as children lives in us throughout our whole lives, and I think this is going to be a super beautiful and heart-wrenching read. So this follows our main character, who is a wife and mother of two. She's living a very happy life, much more than she had ever dreamed of. She's highly educated, and she's doing more than her own mother ever dreamed of doing for herself. So she feels like she should be happy, she should be content, but for whatever reason, she still finds herself with these bursts of anger and sadness, and she can't explain it. Yara works at a college, and when a tragedy happens at the school, her own mother tells her that this could be the works of a centuries-long curse on their family, and slowly everything in her life starts to fall apart as she digs deeper and deeper into what is going on with her life. And I feel like this is going to be a really great book about just grief, overcoming our expectations we had for ourselves and the expectations our families put on us and the generational weight that we carry. So if that sounds like something that you would like, I highly recommend this one. I'm very excited to read this. Okay, the next subcategory I'm going to go into is books I was sent either from publishers or authors or as ARCs. If you're unfamiliar with that term, that is advanced reader copy, so it is just a book that hasn't come out yet that sometimes publishers or authors will send out to people who post reviews and can get word out about these books. So pretty much exactly what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to jump right into it. These we have 5 to talk about. The first one we have is The Forest Grimm by Catherine Purdy, and this is described as a romantasy that will be part of a duology, and it's very big in fairy tales. So this book focuses on the Forest Grimm, which is this forest where whenever someone enters it, they do not return. So you're pretty much doomed if you enter this forest, and of course our main character, Clara, enters the forest with her close friend Axel, who is fated to never fall in love with her. I think that might be some foreshadowing. They learn that there is a curse in their village, and the only way they can reverse that is to venture into the Forest Grimm and find this book that has the answer to reverse it. So from the vibes I'm getting, I'm assuming this is going to be kind of like a doomed romance. They can't fall in love. He can't fall in love with her. However, they are on this adventure together through a very scary and high stake forest, and I think they will fall in love. I think the cover's gorgeous, so if you're looking for like a high stakes romantasy, this one might be the one for you. This comes out on, so this one just came out on September 19th, so you can get your hands on this right now if you're interested. The next one we have is Artifacts of an Ex by Jennifer Chen, and this is a YA romance. Okay, this is a super unique plot. So this follows our main character who gets dumped via UPS. She gets all of her stuff sent back to her in a box once she moves from New York City to LA. So in the midst of her breakup and her move, she decides to create this art exhibit where she collects people's breakup boxes, and she creates a huge exhibit called Artifacts. So the story follows her experience doing this art exhibition, and she also meets someone along the way who she ends up crushing on, but there's a lot of mixed feelings. He doesn't want to be a rebound. He feels like he's always been a rebound for other girls, and he's not trusting her to be fully over her ex yet. If you're someone who's like really into the art world, I feel like this one would be great for you because I think it highly focuses on the actual creation of the exhibition, and I think the romance is definitely a huge plot in this. But I think we really are going to get like a lot of details about the art, about how she creates it, and it even talks about in the back about how she collaborates with other artists. It just seems really interesting. So if you're someone who's into YA romance and art, I think this one would be a great pick for you. The next book we have is called Songs of Irie by Asha Ashanti Bromfield, and this is a sapphic romance. This takes place in 1976 in Jamaica, where the two political parties are extremely at odds. Our two main characters bond over their love of music, and they slowly start to form a relationship. However, they come from very different parts of Jamaica, one of them being in the center of the city and amongst the center of the protests and all of the action. She's very much using her voice and protesting, and the other girl lives in a very lush and rich part of Jamaica and can easily escape if she wants to. So we're dealing with the push and pull between the political parties and the poor and the wealthy in Jamaica, and it is kind of told through the lens of their relationship, which I think is super interesting. I haven't really read a book like that before, so I'm super excited for this one. The next one we have is Flower and Thorn by Radhi Mehrotra. This cover is stunning. So sometimes publishers will send out these papers that have like little briefs on the book, and in the brief that they sent me, this says it is perfect for fans of Sarah J. Maas. So if you're someone who's into Sarah J. Maas's works, listen up. I'm just going to read you this because this is actually explaining it so perfectly. So this follows a young flower hunter who gets embroiled in the succession politics when she must retrieve the rarest and most powerful magical flower after giving it to the wrong hands. This atmospheric novel has it all: a strong and unforgettable cast of characters, a friends to lovers romance that will keep you guessing, and high-stake court politics that will keep you at the edge of your seat. So it basically follows our main character, Arinia, who is a flower hunter. Arinia and her hunting partner and her childhood best friend find this flower that has this incredible power that can take over cities, defeat entire armies. However, she is tricked by an attractive imposter to give this flower away, and the story follows the hunt to retrieve this flower. This is a lush and immersive world. We have a powerful heroine, and yeah, so if you're someone who is into romantasy, pick this one up. And the last book I have to talk about for this subcategory is The Last Devil to Die by Richard Osman. This is a part of the Thursday Murder Club mystery series, which is like a very cozy murder mystery series. So the gang is a group of 4, and they find out that an old friend has been murdered and something very important that he was protecting has gone missing. This leads them into the world of antiques. They encounter drug dealers, art forgers, online scammers. So this is ultimately just like a very cozy murder mystery read. I've heard so many good things about all of Richard Osman's work, and I think the cover's so cute. So definitely pick this up if you're looking for a cozy murder mystery series to get into. Okay, the next edition of this video is going to be called Books I Already Own, but I Need It Again. So that's a very messy title. These are books that I saw when I was in Scotland that I just had to purchase the UK edition, or they were like very unique to UK. So let's jump into it. The first one we have, which isn't, I don't even know if this fits in this category, but I'm just gonna keep it. This is The Normal People script. If you're a fan of Normal People, the book or the show, specifically the show, you need this. You really need this in your life. This is the entire script of the show, every episode. Look at the end pages. Stunning. There's even pictures like throughout the book from the show. It's like a gorgeous book. It's a hardcover but with no dust jacket, which I adore because I hate dust jackets. I really do. So if you are someone who loves the show and the book Normal People, pick this up. If you know somebody who loves Normal People and you need a gift for them, you're welcome. The next one I purchased was this copy of A Lady's Guide to Scandal. I talk about this book probably every single video I have. I just love it so much. And I found a first edition signed copy, so I had to get it. You guys can't get mad at me for buying this. I had to get it. Super cute. And signed by Sophie Irwin, so I just had to purchase it. If you're unfamiliar with this book, this follows our main character Eliza, who is 27 and widowed. She inherits a huge fortune, and she is allowed to keep this fortune and be a countess and own all of this property as long as she avoids scandal. There's a bit of a love triangle in this one, so if you're not a fan of love triangles, probably not for you. However, I adored it. I ate this up. It was so good. So if you're looking for a Regency era romance, please read anything by Sophie Irwin. And the last two I have are these copies of Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After. I just had to get the UK versions. I have, which one's the first one? This is the first one, yeah. Once Upon a Broken Heart is the first one, I think. And I have this copy of the US version, but I don't have this copy. But I bought both of the UK version. I don't know why. I just had to. They're so pretty. So these are spin-offs from the Caraval series. If you're unfamiliar with Caraval, that is a fantasy, and it's not like political, there's not wars, so it's a very simple fantasy to grasp. It's a lot to do with magic and like fairy tales. It's like a fairy tale for young adults slash new adults slash whoever's interested in it. I think they're like some of the best books I've ever read, so this is the spin-off of that. I'm so excited for these. Okay, the next section we have are books I either bought in Scotland that are just random books, or books I received from Berlin Publishers, who is located in Edinburgh in Scotland. My sister-in-law works there, and I got to visit them for the day and get a tour. It was incredible. They gave me some really cool books, and I'm going to share them with you. I'm also doing a giveaway of one of their books, so stay tuned. So the first one we have is this little teeny tiny Sally Rooney book. This is called Mr. Salary. It's literally 30 pages long in this size font and this size book. So like in an actual size book, it's probably like 10 pages maybe. It's really good. It follows our main character who has this very weird relationship with a man like almost double her age, and she lived with him throughout college because her family was either sick, dead, not there. So she lived with him. He was a very distant relative's cousin or something. He's not family, it's not incest. I forget what the relationship is. It's not incest. However, it is pretty messed up because he's like almost 38 and she's like 20. And it's literally just a quick little short story about her visiting him after she graduates college. She moves away to the US and then she comes back to Dublin, I believe it takes place in, to visit him and stay with him. And it's literally like the shortest little story ever. Not much to say about it. It was a fun little read. Okay, I'm going to talk about these two together. So this is Hex by Jenny Fagan, and this is Rizzio by Denise Mina. So Hex is a very feminist, witchy short story. I'm going to read you guys the descriptions for these because it's very like historically accurate, I believe, so I want to make sure I'm getting everything right when I explain it. It's the 4th of December, 1591. On this, the last night of her life, in a prison cell several floors below Edinburgh's High Street, convicted witch Galis Duncan receives a mysterious visitor, Iris, who says she comes from a future where women are still persecuted for who they are and what they believe. As the hours pass and dawn approaches, Gaylis recounts the circumstances of her arrest, brutal torture, confession, and trial, while Iris offers support, solace, and the tantalizing prospect of escape. This is the book that I'm doing a giveaway for. If you're someone who likes witchy feminist reads, I know that you will love this one, and it's a super short, quick read. It's less than 100 pages, and they're all signed, which is very cool. So the author has kindly signed all of them. So I have 3 I'm giving away over on my Instagram. So if you head over to my Instagram, which is at Emily Page Books, you can enter the giveaway. And then I'm going to read the description for Rizzio too. It's Saturday evening, 9 March 1566, and Mary, Queen of Scots, is 6 months pregnant. I love Mary, Queen of Scots. She's hosting a supper party. Outside, Edinburgh is bustling. It's full of the great and the good and the idiot sons of the rich, here for a parliament that will take Scotland by the shoulders and turn it from England to face Europe. Mary doesn't know that her palace is surrounded, that right now an army of men is creeping upstairs to her chamber. They're coming to murder David Rizzio, her friend and secretary, the handsome Italian man who is smiling across the table at her. Mary's husband wants it done in front of her, and he wants her to watch. If you watched Reign, I know that's not like historically accurate, but Reign follows Mary, Queen of Scots, and oh my god, when I heard that this book was about Mary, Queen of Scots, I fell in love. So super excited to read this one. The next one we have is the Edinburgh Skating Club. This is by Michelle Sloan. So this takes place in the 18th century, and it follows our main character, Alison Cockburn. She is basically dared by her best friend to enter Edinburgh's all-male skating club, and so she dresses up as a man and enters this all-men's skating club. We flip back and forth between 18th century and present day, where we are following this art historian who is trying to dive deep into the history of the iconic painting The Skating Minister, which is on the front cover and is actually a real painting. The book truly is following this woman trying to infiltrate an all-male society. It celebrates the women who are overlooked in history and brings light to them, which I think is super cool. So that is the Edinburgh Skating Club. The next one we have is Burnt Offerings by Daniel Devlin, and this cover is actually unreal. So this takes place in Scotland in 1589, and it follows our main character whose husband mysteriously disappears, and of course she is accused of witchcraft. So this is set during the North Berwick witch trials, and it's the story of Bessie's fight to get the truth told and uncovering all of the secrets of Scotland's witch trials as she fights for justice. So this is another witchy feminist book. I'm seeing a big trend in this video today. These are all witchy feminist books, and not mad about it. Finally, for this section, we have Weak Teeth by Lindsay May. This cover and the title are just kind of disturbing in a very cool way. Like, thinking about weak teeth and a bitten apple just kind of like sends like a chill down my spine. Like, imagining biting an apple with weak teeth just kind of. So this takes place during a long, hot Edinburgh summer, and it follows our main character, Ellis, whose life is kind of crumbling around her. Her boyfriend leaves her for someone else. She has no money in her bank account, and her job's at risk. She is forced to go back and live in her childhood home with her parents, and while she is there, she experiences this extreme anxiety and this extreme like hypochondria and fixation on her teeth. And it kind of talks about her struggle with her relationship with her parents, delving into her childhood, and also her experience with anxiety and her teeth. So if you're someone who is like scared of teeth and that stuff, like if that stuff freaks you out, might not be for you. But I also think this could be a super good read and a super like challenging read for someone who, like, I suffer with anxiety and like health anxiety specifically, and I feel like this would be a good read for me because it'll like validate me, you know what I mean? So the next 2 books are just 2 random books that I purchased. One of them is actually for my best friend, but I'm still going to show it to you because it's gorgeous and I want to talk about it, and that is You Again, which has been like all over social media, Book Talk, Bookstagram, BookTube, and rightfully so. I mean, this cover is gorgeous, and apparently it's like a spin on When Harry Met Sally, I believe, which I love. I think that's adorable. So this follows our main characters, Josh and Ari, who kind of start off the story immediately disliking each other. They find out that they are both sleeping with the same woman. It's just kind of a weird incident, and they expect to never cross paths again. However, they do. They bump into each other and they're both going through these big ego-crushing breakups, and they kind of find comfort and friendship in one another. They hate each other too much for there to be any kind of relationship there, so it kind of sets a firm boundary where they're able to be friends, if that makes any sense. And slowly, like, these boundaries that they created just start to blur, and they start to slowly fall in love. So this is like an enemies to friends to lovers. I think that is so cute. I'm not really a huge romance reader, and I feel like my friend is going to love this one. I, however, know that I'll put this off for so long, so I'm going to give it to her to read. But if you're a romance reader, this is the perfect time to read it, so pick this one up and let me know your thoughts. And the next one we have is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. I actually started this one like 2 weeks ago, like a week and a half ago, when I was getting ready to fly to Scotland. I read it on the plane and I just haven't picked it up since, but I really liked it. I just didn't get like super far into it. So this is a mixture of a Regency era story with fantasy, which I'm not even kidding, two of my absolute favorite genres like ever. So yeah, so this follows our main character who, when she is younger, she is attacked by a fairy and he takes half of her soul. So she has no ability to feel like remorse, shame, embarrassment, anger, stuff like that. And it kind of gets her into all of these scandals in Regency era London. So she follows her cousin who is looking for a suitor in London, and she is trying her best to avoid starting scandals because she has no ability to know like if what she's saying is wrong. So it's her journey of trying to like keep quiet basically. She meets this man who is a lord, and he is very intrigued by her and her ability to basically say whatever she wants to say. And it gets her drawn into all of these dangerous fairy affairs because he is a fairy as well. And yeah, so I'm super excited for this one. I'm gonna pick this one back up as soon as I'm done the current book I'm working on. So I will keep you guys updated with my thoughts on this. We've reached the end. The last book I have is my one nonfiction that I bought, and this is Write a Novel in 10 Minutes a Day by Catherine Grubb. Pretty self-explanatory. It's basically like a workshop book that gives you a lot of like questions and prompts to think of to work on a book for 10 minutes a day. I have such a hard time with writing because I get super overwhelmed and think I need to be doing more than I am, and then I burn out, and then so I feel like a book like this is going to be super helpful for me, so I'm very excited for this one. Okay, that concludes the book haul for today. I hope you guys found a book recommendation somewhere in this mess of a video. I'm really excited to read these books. I think this was like a super fall book haul. There's a lot of witchy books, there's a lot of mysteries. I even included romances. Even though I don't really read them, I included them for you. So let me know your thoughts if you read any of these or if you plan on reading them, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this because it helps me. So I will see you for the next video.